welcome to our podcast, The Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner, where we hope to show you exactly what it's like to grow a business. Today I'm here with Toby Burns, UK's #1 silent disco.
Correct, yeah.
With many other brands, we delve into them. That's kind of the main one where you are. So if we look at you as a person, how do we describe you?
Probably a bit of ADHD in there because you want everything done yesterday. Private to a lot of people, if they wanted to be inside my head, it's like having tabs open on your internet browser and I'm continuously clicking between those tabs, or I might start a tab and then I'm like, oh, I need to quickly do that, so I click to another tab, do that, come back. So chaotic, so you've got to have a good team around you, but I think resilient really key because, business off, taxes is hard for a business owner, and I think resilient is, you've got to be a different type of person to be like a real entrepreneur. The traits in myself and other entrepreneurs are very similar, that, not everyone is up for the stress and that job.
It's a tough, lonely journey.
Yes, 24-hour gig from entertainment and events and DJing and children. And I was like, it's a 24-hour gig. 24 hours, the last thing you think of when you go to sleep, first thing you think of when you wake up. Holidays for me, that don't really exist. I'm with my family, but you're constantly thinking about business and the next thing. And I think that's just the sort of entrepreneurship flair that you're always sort of, what's the next thing? How can you make your next week? How can you save your next week? That's a constant thought.
Something I want to come to later on, but you brought it up. You said you're constantly thinking about it. When you're on holiday, you're thinking about it. Do you think that's a bad thing?
So I am. And a lot of, I surround myself with a lot of entrepreneurs. I think that's like, you either want to be a business owner and operate your business, or you want to be an entrepreneur and grow something substantial. And I surround myself with entrepreneurs as like staying in a gym row, but like you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most, or you associate yourself with. So always try and be the least cleverest person in the room, because that's where you get to. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's how we're made. I've got much better when I go on holiday, to be fair. Like, I have kids now. So my wife knows. My laptop comes away. That's a 3-day trip. And I will do half an hour a day. Like, obviously, you sit by the phone, you're like looking at your phone. Scroll social media. I have a look at my emails, what deals are being done, I put with my team and talk there. Like, I'd rather do that scroll with no meaning through social media or TikTok or something like that. But I always will do it even on holiday, like, and this could be 11, 12 o'clock at night, like kids sleep, wife's, long gone. I'm a late person anyway. And I will do half an hour of work. Even I can't, I have to, I can't not do that. It may be that there's new opportunities. We may be looking for acquire a business. I'm not looking at numbers. We have a team that let me know if there's any concerns. But certainly looking at new opportunities and what have they taken today with businesses,
A lot of people talk about our work, things like that, and I kind of don't agree with it. Like, if you enjoy it, like, don't take away what you enjoy, and if making them sales, making them opportunities is the bit that you enjoy.
It's cliche, because there is the saying of, like, you either work to live or live to work. And I do think, if you love what you do, it's not work.
Yeah,
it really isn't. You enjoy what you do, and I think like one of the most important things is the team around you and the staff. You spend more time with your staff than you do at home with your loved ones. I enjoy being around the team. I've said to them before, I could work from home every day. I could come into the office once a week or once a month. But I genuinely, the ideas bouncing around, the fuzziness of the office, challenges. I want to make the impossible possible. I feel it's my job to do. You have managers, you have staff that can do the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the month-to-month. I want to be told that's possible, or it's going to cost $100,000 to do that. And I like to prove people wrong and make the impossible possible. That's how I see my role of making things happen. So I don't think it's sure. I think that you love what you do. It's part of you,
Although I did read something this morning that was basically saying about relationships. I think some people get lost along the way, lose relationships, focus solely on work, doing what you love, doing what you enjoy, but also don't lose the people that you want to keep with you. And that's the balance to me, not this work-life balance. It's just keep on top of your relationship, keep working on partner, family, life, and the business, then it's fine.
I think this is a real key thing that's probably affected me the most, but I'm content with it now. And I've got a colleague of 8 years with me, with you now in the room. It's someone I see as a dear friend as well. And I know he will relate to this, but certainly as a children's, where I started was children's entertainer, but it was a bit more cool than that. Children's entertainer and DJ, and I used to say it was the most sociable, unsociable job there is, because you are around people all the time, party. You're not socialising, you're working. At 14, 15, I was being picked up from school with a man in a van gang and doing parties. That's the facts. At college, as soon as I was driving up, leave college, I'm going out work. 15. And I have missed multiple friends' birthday things, friendship. I've missed all that. If I've got a job that's been booked in a year in advance, that person has booked me to come and DJ for their wedding. My friend's getting married on the same day. Well, I can't. You lose your reputation instantly if you start cancelling. Oh, sorry, I've got a better offer. I'm going to a friend's wedding. So those relationships in our industry is not everything, but this is the industry we're in now. Work is unsociable, and AP who's in the room will relate. He has a lovely partner, and I know if he's out working at the weekend, that will affect his relationship. But we try now I've learned over the years. At the start, it didn't matter. I'm working 7 days a week. And entrepreneur, someone that wants to grow something really quite large, it's a 24-hour gig. You are going to work 7 days. You're going to put the hours in. Now later on, we've got a big enough team that it's not 3 people doing everything. We can now spread ourselves. I don't do as many events anymore. Like if I need, I still DJ for like Google and Virgin because I've DJ for them for like 10 years. AP, for example, in the summer, he may be out every single weekend for 4 or 5 weeks because it's a peak. But then he'll have 6 weekends off for Saturday and then not for Sunday. We'll put another team member on Sunday. It just, at work, it all comes at like all at once and then a few weekends with nothing. When I say nothing, that's events with staff, because we do around about 150 events a week, hires events a week. They can sometimes be with staff or they're just dry hires where it's like a do-it-yourself package, because that's our model that's been able to let us scale to where we are now, that it's like a do-it-yourself package. But if there's staff, there are times where they will do a 7-day week, we'll give them like the Monday, Tuesday off just for recovery. That's the nature of the beast of what industry we find ourselves in. So relationships definitely are affected, and because I've gone through that from such a young age, and now I'm much more conscious of that. I think, that if they got back at 3 a.m. years ago, I'd expect them to come in at 10, 11 o'clock, say, like, get the rest you need, but we go again the next day. Maybe as I've got older, I've suffered a little. I think, again, AP and the room would probably agree with that. But we've got a great team and a much bigger team that allows us to spread ourselves a bit better. Relationships are affected by it. And only now it's having a team, and that takes time. There's sacrifices to be made, and I was happy to make those sacrifices because I knew later on that, the rewards. And now it's building back up those relationships. And I think kids is different because your friends have kids and you end up doing stuff a bit differently.
Going to kids' parties.
Kids' parties, which is a bit odd. It's actually my daughter's birthday this weekend, and on Sunday, like the last few years, we've done that. I'm in events, so I'm going to go, go big or go home. I can't not put on a big event because I'm in it. So the last few years, we've done 120 people in the garden, big, decoration, theming. I'm all about the detail. And this year, because we've got another one, so I will tone it down a bit. So we've actually got an entertainer coming who does like Little City. And it makes me think and this is why I was in the industry, and it took me back to like when I was so young, spending a bloody fortune on good parties. Like, I remember what I got as an entertainer per party is moved to like, this is Little City, where they have like set up like police station, hospital, and it's like role play. And And I'm like, I cannot believe, you know, how much it costs now and remember, kids have a birthday every year. So you think like you accumulate that, the cost of that over a period. And like, I was in a really lucky industry when I got into DJing of like absolutely absurd parties, like Jewish and Arab events where like an Arab client will spend 100 grand on a Super Bowl and they'll have 500. So invite everyone in London to it for their, you know, massive extended families. And it's like mind blowing.
It's strange, like even people who don't have that sort of money will sacrifice themselves for their kids for a 2-year-old party or a 3-year-old party because it's their baby, nothing but the best for them. So I guess it's quite a very good industry to be in.
Yeah, I grew up and I knew a lot of children's entertainment, I was watching, and like there was one guy who was friends with my brother, really good children's entertainer. And at like 18, he bought his first house, you know, because he was really good at saving. A lot of the entrepreneurs, even at a young age that I surrounded myself with, there was a common theme of property that they all had, and they were setting themselves up. You can't. There's one entertainer that I know that I work very well known in Essex. I think he's coming up to he's still 4 or 6 parties a week, and he's booked out, right? And he loves it. He has 22 properties. He doesn't have to do it. He loves doing it. You know, he's got an amazing mouth. So I obviously, that was one focus for me when I started my business, is that we would put the profits into property, which is exactly what we've done. I think that the worst thing is you want to put on a nice party, you'll invite 30 kids from the nursery. The problem is now you're going to be invited to their birthdays, and now you've got to buy 30 presents. So although you've sacrificed like your own salary to put on like, you know, or you've sacrificed something, maybe, you know, 3-star hotel instead of 4-star if you wanted to put on a party, but now you'll be invited to all the others. You've got to get them all the presents. Don't realise, or maybe a lot of your listeners with kids know, like, it's a fortune. Kids really do cost you a fortune. And the parties are just like, I mean, we did the food shop last night, like sandwiches and a baby bit of water. I'll tell you what came to, I'm going to have to, work a bit harder this month. You know, it's the memories, you do anything for your kids and smile on their face. You know, that's why maybe I'm in the industry that I am, doing a kids' party, doing a magic trip, seeing that expression on that kid's face of just, they'll remember that year after year. I've got clients that have done their 5 and 6-year-old's birthday, and now they're calling me down to get married production for the wedding. One that makes me feel super old, but it also means you've left the memory with them from doing that party. And that has come with me throughout my career of now silent discos. And, you know, our main vision is like creating memories through celebrations. And the amount of people I speak to who've been to a silent disco and remember very specific moments in that silent disco, like their friend was like in their own world dancing, and they were dancing to this, I was listening, and they remember that exact moment. And it's all about memories. And that comes from giving my daughter a nice party, but other people putting on a nice Ken party with silent disco. You know, it follows the theme of the ethos of our business.
I guess kids are so innocent and also so emotive. They've not had it drained out of them yet, but it probably really is quite rewarding, like you mentioned, seeing them kids' faces when they are happy, like just everything. They express it so nicely. So I guess that in itself is extremely rewarding. But do you get numb to it?
No.
No.
Like even how many years on now, I will still pop to site that having silent discos, and I still have a smile on my face when I'm watching people having the best time of their night. They're in their own world, they forget where they are, like there could be 20 people watching them, but with those headphones on, they are in their own little world. And I have a big smile on my face, even after seeing thousands of them. So no, I wouldn't get down to it. And like this week, maybe it's different with your kids, but like a party's on Sunday. I don't know why, but she was obsessed with having like a poop emoji party. She was only 3, but she's obsessed with poop emoji. So my sister's going to make a poop emoji cake. And I know what her face is going to be like. She doesn't know. And she sees this birthday cake. And that memory will stay with me, I think will stay with her, and it's just a memory that will stay with people. So look, based on that, you know, creating memories through celebration, whether I'm doing that for my own family or people that I don't know or he will never meet. Dry hire company, it doesn't matter. The ethos about it.
On that, you must have, celebrations and energy and all that going on. You must feel exhausted of that. Like the energy you have to bring to every event, every day. Is it draining?
I think we made it a bit different. Maybe for the team, like after a bank holiday, we get a lot of inquiries because they've built up over, got an extra couple of days bank holidays. I think that the team will go home exhausted because we've they've had to deal with so many inquiries, which is a great problem to have. We're exhausted. I'm ready to go, yeah. Let's go to the next one. But again, remember that we don't go to many, our business model is that, our office team will take the inquiry, the equipment gets shipped to your door via a courier. You do it yourself, set it all up, it takes a couple of minutes, you have your party, and then it gets picked up and shipped back to us. So we don't actually get to meet 95% of our customers. So the most important thing for us is customer service. We call them after, we say, how was it? We really build that relationship because we're never going to meet them. Whether that's the same for, your industry, you might have that an accountancy meeting once a year where you meet them. But other than that, it's emails and calls. You're not interacting with them really. It's the same for our part. Really put my energy to speak to a customer or what's the next event you're doing. There's no lack of energy. The guys will know me. And I say, look, if I email you late, do not reply. Don't even look at it, but it's on my mind. I said it's the last thing you think about when you go to sleep. Even last night, we did some bits in London and some site visits. No, I emailed Alex, who was in the room at 1:45 this morning. Then when I saw your email, finishing off some bits, I was catching up throughout the day. I was like, you don't have to reply, but these things are on my mind. I'm going to send them from doing years ago. We've done Oxford and Cambridge University where they will go from midnight to 5 a.m. And the guys at 5 a.m. just get me to bed or we'll get more breakfast and then they go to bed. I go back to the office and do that. But I'm built different. I'm my body has been trained for this. It will catch up. I've been doing this a long time. And I tell that, for that example team, go to sleep. Some of them will come back in at 3 because we might have more events or they need to catch up on it. And when they come back in, then I'll go to sleep. On those rare occasions, not very often that those late events, but I will go to the office and I think entrepreneurs are built different.
I guess that also, you've mentioned that's who you are. You've got all that tab going, you've got all that going on. Just naturally, that's what works. If we can go back, you said you were a child entertainment, things like that. Is that what you always wanted to do at school? Is that where you were always going to go?
Three things I always wanted to be a pilot. Really random.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to be a pilot, but that would have been the college university process. But I was already doing children's and stuff. I love magic. I had my brother had a few friends that were children's entertainment, really good, earning a lot of money. And so I would go out. I did a few restaurants. I did magic around the tables, really as a hobby. 60 quid, people give you tips. You did the magic show, it's a 10-hour workout. So I was already earning money from a really young age. And saving, buying some equipment, saving. And then I got to that point of if I'd be a pilot, 6 years at uni, I was do I want to waste 6 years of my life? Doctors do it. It's a long time of training. There is, reward or training. You're a lawyer. You got to go through a process. And I was do I do that or do I continue earning money at 16 years old? I'm earning good money, saving. And obviously, what option I chose. I don't think there was an obsession with earning money, but it was why would I go and get myself into 30 grand of debt going to uni and at 16, 17, I'd be earning that year, and that's where we went with it. And then we didn't go all in, It developed over time. When we started Disco, my business was key man driven. People wanted to book me as the entertainer. Had to miss the family wedding. I've got 3 gigs that day. And that isn't sustainable. I referenced the guy earlier, I won't say his name. He's got multiple properties, still out doing it now because he loves it. I couldn't see myself doing it forever. It was great and I did enjoy it, but I knew there would be a point where it's a very lonely place, like being out on the road. Even entrepreneurship is a lonely place, but I have a team around me. You are on your own. You've got that job, go to the next one, go again. I had a roadie at times, but I always knew that wasn't long term, and I needed something that would work without me in it, and that I could work on the business rather than in the business. And I don't think there's anything wrong with working in the business. And like I tell other entrepreneurs now, what I spend, if you want to grow a beast, let's just go white. Stephen Bart, he has a few meetings, but he has a huge team that runs all these businesses, and he's doing, and that's okay for him. I actually do like working in the business. I like being involved. So this is where I have a balance of like, I'm probably work 20% in the business, operating, these are some challenges, we need to fix these challenges rather than getting your things to it. Like, I'll be hands-on with that. And then the other 80% is working on the business, whether that's content, like today, finding new opportunities, R&D, stuff that I do it once, but forever. Let's develop a new headphone, maybe not forever, but that will work for 5 years, and then we're going to innovate something different, or a karaoke. I'm always innovating, always trying to find new products. So I'm working on the business rather than in it. But I probably spend 20% of my time actually operating or help fixing an issue with the team, which I like being hands-on. I find that quite rewarding. Whereas a true, you should actually have a team do everything. But I'm content with having, there's different stages of business. Like, do you want a lifestyle business? Do you want a beast or whatever? And I feel I've got a little bit of both, which I quite like.
I'd also say it depends on having the team around you. So at what point were you able to step out from doing the do, having the team around to help you? Was it a certain turnover? Was it a certain staff? What enabled you to focus more on the business?
So to give you a real quick, 30-second journey, children's entertainer, didn't want to do that. I do 10 parties a week. I was already DJing, so I really stopped the children's. I did these really high-level DJ events, 18s or 40s. I was very specific. It was Jewish, Arab clientele, and corporate. Real high-spending events. I just found myself in that market. I was like, I don't want to do this forever. It's late nights. I'm still working 7 days a week. I broke my wrist once, and I was like, I couldn't work, and if I'm not working. And then I sort of saw the concept of silent disco and wanted to bring it into the market that I was operating in, Jewish, Arab, and corporate. And silent disco was born. Again, I surround myself with entrepreneurs, and they're like, you have to eat last. That's now a new mindset for me, because I've been earning money as an individual, and now the owner needs to eat last. You need to pay everyone else first, and you will get your rewards in 3, 5, 10 years' time. First person I heard was the fact. I needed that off my desk of sending invoices to clients, chasing invoices, doing a VAT return and on an Excel sheet like that. Gave me a lot of time back, and someone said, "Get it 1 day a week." As it started, was the first person I hired.
Was that the most important person to get it?
Well, so an entrepreneur told me 2 people you should hire before anything else: is a bookkeeper and a PA. And I never got. So a lot of business owners will relate to this, but we're control freaks early on, and that's a mindset shift that control freaks to a degree. I've got rid of the bookkeeping. I don't want to have anything. You chase the invoice, such a time-consuming.
There's a lot of admin.
Lot of admin. So a PA could have done it, to be fair, but the bookkeeper had the overall picture, and I wanted numbers. We talked about this before we came on here, management accounts and numbers. Business owners need to know their numbers. Weekly, monthly, daily, and I said about being on holiday, I want to know what the papers were today, see how we're doing, and tracking that day, every week, every month is much better than once a year when your accountant tells you the numbers.
What does that enable you to do?
Helps you to plan, helps you to work out where you can be frugal on costs. And I tell my team every week, we have to be frugal on costs so we can be generous with investment. That might be investing in products, new premises, team members. If we are frugal on cost, that will give us more for investment. By doing numbers monthly, I want to know how much have we spent on couriers this month? Well, the team of several actually got an email from the courier in April. Everyone puts up everything. Percentage, water, electricity, it's never not gone up. And, what's the point in waiting until the following April to go, God, courier sent this shit. Oh yeah, because in May we have an email, it's gone up, they had a green levy charge on lorries, a HGV charge, your rate went up by 50p a parcel. It's like 15 grand. But you won't know that until your accountant tells you or may not tell you the next day. So you've nearly got a year there without that information. If you track that on management accounts every month, you will know there and then, well, we're out of contract with our energy or water as examples. Like, let's jump on, let's save costs, let's be frugal on costs. So if that 15 grand saved on a courier, we have moved courier company in the last couple of years because there was about 10-15% saving by doing so, by keeping the quality the same. The quality remains the same, but the saving cost. 15 grand goes towards another salary, it goes towards more equipment, goes towards another property for us to trade out of. Like, frugal on costs. So by doing that every month, is really. And likewise, if I'm not in the office and the numbers are down for the day, why is that? Have we had a problem with leads coming through the website? We're all inbound. Okay, we have an in-house marketing manager. I want to know analytics, ads, he's tracking that every day. Have we had a tracking issue? Did we have a drop on the website? Did Google push an update? You can't wait a year before you get that information. Oh, we've had a little drop issue. I want to know on the day so you can be nimble, proactive to get that sorted out. Because your fixed cost of the day or rising, you've got the same staff. So you've got to keep, I always say keeping the cash going keeps the business going, and it does. And I always say to all my teams, like, sales first. Some entrepreneurs want a nice flashy office, the nice podcast studio. They want everything set up, 10 staff before they've even got their sales, because they think that's, I've got to have the right setup to be able to sales first. If we take 100 grand, we can afford the nice office. We can pay for 2 more members of staff. We can pay for a podcast studio and the best cameras, or sales first. And I'm probably a bit nagging on that, but I remind them all the time, like, frugal on costs, sales first. The sales come first. Like, when you tell me, we've run out of headphones for a particular weekend, then we've got 25,000 headphones, but there are times in the summer where we'll fully booked, which is a great problem to have. I want to know when that is, because we can ship in another 4,000 headphones. And I'll ship them in by air, because it's more expensive than shipping them in a container. And we will add to that stock, and we'll know that on a daily basis, how we're looking for certain weekends in the summer and popular weekends. You can be nimble with that. But sales first is to me, the most important thing. Because cash in the bank will solve logistical issues on my thing, but I don't know how we haven't got capacity for 250 orders. I'm not going to put in all the infrastructure for capacity of 250 orders until we have 200. Then I can pay for all the infrastructure. So I'm heavily focused on that. And again, it's all mindset. So
I guess you're almost more of like a logistics company than anything else, because you're just making sure that everything is in the right place at the right time and you've got the right equipment.
The teams are, the warehouse manager is very much logistics. What's in, what's out, needs to go out, what needs to come back. And the operations manager is really making sure that sales are there and stuff is back. So it is we are essentially a logistics, business. And I think that's where we differ from competition, is that if they're much smaller organisations, that, if a box goes missing or they've sold out to the headphone and something doesn't come back, or couriers lose things all the time, we know this, they're screwed. They are going to call the customer and go, I'm really sorry, to do your hire. And we get calls about that. Single day, companies letting down people because they're literally booking out to the absolute quantity. We actually always keep 1,000 headphones in stock, and the team will be annoyed with the management to a degree. They're frustrated. There's 1,000 headphones out. I've got 5 for don't use them. Back up. So we've never let them down. I'll tell Toby 4,000 headphones will be in the air in 3 weeks. and they'll be here, like 4 weeks. So we're very hot.
I guess that comes back to one of my favourite quotes is, I think it's that Maya Angelou. I don't know if you've seen Molly's Game or Molly Bloom. It's people don't remember how you made what you said. People don't remember what you did, but they remember how you made them feel. Quite literally, everything you're focusing on is just how you make people feel, how you've got stuff readily available for them. It's always a good experience, no matter. So I do really like.
Yeah, like our operations manager, when he came into the business probably about 3 years ago, we really took our time to hire that. He's so customer service focused, almost annoying, because if something goes wrong, give them a free hire. If something had really gone wrong, which is rare, we're going to give them a free hire. They can just have it all again for free, no what costs to us. It's better than a refund. And I do get that. But he is so customer focused. And you're right, it's the journey from the minute they inquire, they have a problem on the night, we have 24/7 tech line. I can see it on my phone. I don't often answer, but I can see on New Year's Eve at 2 a.m. someone's calling, probably really drunk, Wi-Fi or something, and stupid. But I can see the team are answering that 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve, and they should be enjoying themselves. That focus on customer service for the customer is why we're the highest rated. We've got more reviews than anyone else. All platforms, Trustpilot, Facebook, Google, people can see that and see the experience people have had to make sure that we are the very best at what.
So, being the very best, I guess you've had quite a journey up and down. What's been your biggest failure?
There was a few failures, but they all stem from the C word called COVID. That was tough. As a business owner, you've got a lot of staff. We treat them as one big family, and that was tough on mental health and business. That I say the mental health element me because you've got so many years, everything's going cushy. Every call that comes in is an inquiry booking, the office is buzzing, and then all of a sudden, in a day, every call that comes in is a postponement or cancellation. Something is really, something's really going to hit the fan. Don't know how, but shit is going to hit the fan with this. That was really, really hard. So we, as an entrepreneur,
what's going through your head at that point?
It's more, I know how we can deal with this short, but how long is this going to last? Because we bounce back. We're humans, and humans love the party. Brits love the party. Nation of party goers and get drunk and that sort of thing. So it would always come back. It was more a case of the uncertainty of how long is this going to go? How long do we need to weather this storm? And the unknown and not having control of that. As business owners, we're control freaks. We don't have control of this situation anymore. It's taken out of our hands. That was probably the hardest point of that. What am I going to tell them? They've got families, my team, they've got more to pay. We can't afford to just pay out £500,000 on payroll a year when we've got zero. It's just impossible. It doesn't stack up. That was really challenging. I remember, as I said, the calls, and I remember the seaside, and I didn't even go. I just went, sat on the beach, and just looked down, have a moment of hell, what the hell am I going to do here? I know maybe you had it. Maybe it was different. So you were busy.
Yeah.
But for us in entertainment and events, we're done. We're done. And I actually saw it coming. I deal with China. I go to China, and this was all December time, where it was in China getting serious. And I said to one of my team, I was like, if it's going to happen here in a short space of time, we are going to be shut down like China. 100%. The world is too connected now. You can go to an airport now, fly wherever you want in the world. It's amazingly connected, which is great. I was like, so it's already here. This was like November, December. I was like, it's already here. We are going to be locked down at some point. So it's like, I almost don't want to believe that, but in the back of your head, I knew it was going to happen. But just last in a few weeks and get better. It was the uncertainty. But we pivoted into, so that's like a real failure moment for me because I had no control over it. If I had control, I would know what the outcome would be. But we did, as a true entrepreneur, you pivot into other things.
And just want to stop you there on that still. At that point, who do you talk to?
No one. Because as an entrepreneur, it's a lonely gig. is lonely. There's no like, and no disrespect. I get really annoyed when entrepreneurs ask their accountant for advice on like entrepreneurship. Numbers fine. I always say like they're not an entrepreneur. If they've got multiple businesses, and they've built an absolute beast, fine, go speak to them for advice. And there is an accountant I know who's got, big property portfolio. He's does something with like Royce, like he's got his fingers in a lot of pies. And I would go to him for advice.
He probably built his practice himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he built a business that worked.
And he's invested in many other things. He's very wealthy guy now. Still has his practice. But generally, like some accountants, numbers people, entrepreneurs, I'm talking about the numbers, what's a good decision and a bad decision of what you want to spend your money on. Appetite and stuff, they're going to be very conservative, because
Stereotypically.
I'm talking, in the majority. We went to an accountancy firm yesterday. We alluded to this before the chat that suits the booted, very pop, don't know, those sort of accountants through, but so going back to your point, there's no rule there's no A to Z for entrepreneurs, and I always say entrepreneurs will have a rough idea. It's not a flawless business plan. It's a rough idea that gets finessed over time into creating a business. The most important bit of advice, and you'll probably ask me this later, is for entrepreneurs to speak to other entrepreneurs that have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, same mistake. But at that point, there wasn't a lot of people to speak to. I couldn't speak to my wife to be at that point. And she was high risk. She was at home.
And if you're going to tell her, we've got no money, got nothing coming in, I've got to pay back all these amounts that people, deposits that people have cancelled, the reality is her reaction is going to be, oh my God, what do we do? How do we live?
I think I'm a rare case. My wife is actually, I'll make it quick. So she's like really chilled. Like I could come home, as I've done a few times, being like, I bought a commercial property today. She goes, okay, cool. Like, she's not bothered. A lot of people would be like, what have you bought? How much was it? Like, does that mean we can't go on holiday this year? Like, whatever. And I come home with some wild stuff. I literally came home last week. I was like, I've booked China. Well, I'm going forward. I need to go out. So, okay, it's pretty good. She's really, really chill. But she knows that from day one, build moats around the business. We continue to do that. I said that with commercial properties, like building your business is your castle. You need to build moats around it to protect it. There's one thing that we have always done is we have to build. Summer is our busiest time. We're busy all year round. May to September is our real peak time. So I always build up as large a reserve as possible September, October, because January and February traditionally we will lose money. January, February, that's quite time, so much ready. Yeah. And now it's changed. A lot of companies will have their Christmas parties in January. Christmas, and we do a lot of Christmas parties for accountants. That's strange.
In January. Normally, most accountants are stressed in January, and they'll do something in February
or first week of Feb.
Yeah.
Either Jan. A lot of them, if they are doing tax returns, I spoke to yesterday, they tend to try and do that in December.
Yeah, we're pushing October, but most work to deadlines because why wouldn't you? And they just wait until January and then they get all stressed and do loads of overtime.
Or maybe they're going to find a party last week of Jan, first week of Feb,
Yeah.
Reward the hard work over January. But so now people are doing parties January and February, and this I think was the first year that we've actually made like a really decent profit in January and February. But traditionally, they're loss-making months. I still have the mentality of build-up. So for summer, because you never know what's going to happen with those January, February and cash flow. So that would have been the same for the COVID year, lockdown, something around that time. So we built up reserves, eaten into them a bit, January, February, but we had some reserves to, keep staff going on a temporary layoff play. Going back to my wife, I have to tell you, she was absolutely buzzing. I was going to be at home to work at home. I want the pen. She was absolutely ecstatic that we were going to be locked down. I was going to be at home and do loads of house stuff. She was not worried in the slightest because I think, she trusts me that we've got some reserves. We were actually due to get married that summer. So we had all of our weddings, baby, done. Related 2 years. Our weddings. I was like, a year's risky. to postpone it. They postponed it 2 years. Ended up having a child, but we had all of our wedding savings. So I knew we were actually live. She was in education, so they're still getting paid regardless. She was a teacher. They're all still getting paid to do the money, all of it. So we knew we were actually going to be okay. But on a business sense, like those reserves are 3-4 months, 3 months, a year, 18 months worth. I had to get cash flow quickly. So we all our subsequent brands was like outdoor drive cinemas. So that was one of the first things that you do. You've got to sit in your car, don't open the window, don't breathe, don't look at anyone, but you can go for a drive in the cinema. 4 people in the car.
5 foot away from each other.
Oh yeah, all of that, put this magical, imaginary bubble over your car that, no one's going to get it. So we did a lot of driving the cinemas, but before that we had an online Christmas shop. So I dealt with a wholesaler that had a lot of party goods and Christmas goods. So we did that. We did like sneeze screens now in every shop. Still like plastic screens that you put your money through the little window.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of work with VJ booths, perspex and plastic sheets. So I saw an opportunity, as much plastic as I could, took a risk. I think it was like $2,000 in, put it in $2,000, turned that nearly into a 6-figure for cash flow. And that just, it got swallowed up. Just got bringing cash flow. And one of the biggest failures after the Christmas shop, I was like, I'm fairly good with Shopify. One of our team was really good at Shopify website. We could also deal with half of that. So I did an online pet store because I've got a dog with this dog. Looking, I was like, all that crap for dogs, like toys, dog beds, treats. I've got wholesale, buy it wholesale. Anyway, for my own dog, if I'm frugal, I'd rather just buy like a box of 1,000 treats that lasts me half a year because I save money on it. Like that's who I am. I'll do that with toilet roll. The guys will have a pallet of toilet roll turn up. Which one is staff meeting? Like, we go for a bloody lot toilet roll. It's that funny. So I just buy everything in bulk. Another example is like, I said to my ops manager, I was like, we're going through so much gaffer tape. It's unbelievable. I said, when we're in China, I'm going to get some samples. And we had like 1,000 rolls of gaffer tape. And we're still using it. But it was the difference between £4 a roll, buying it in the UK, or landing £1.25 a roll, buy 1,000. But we use it.
It doesn't go off.
It doesn't go off. So going back to the original point, the pet store was a complete, I think the pet will do. Love it. Put some absolute failure. I was like, it just couldn't sell any of it. I thought it was cheap, but I just couldn't market it. So the Christmas shop and all that, it goes on your tree and baubles like that. Went like gangbusters for that Christmas after COVID, like, we did that up to a couple of years ago. Very seasonal, but people love buying that stuff. And Christmas tree. And the pet stuff was an absolute failure. And then in the end, I think up until about last year, I was giving it to anyone that I knew. It's just taking up room in our warehouse. Just take it. Ball throwers. I go to the park where I'm with the dog. Anyone that I see that's in the park, I have a free ball thrower. Can't bloody tell the thing after 4 years.
They're all stuck in my car. I thought I'd get rid of them somewhere.
Like Del Boy within the car. No, they were people that I knew. But that was a complete, utter flop, that stuff. Those are the two biggest failures. Is obviously COVID. I see that as a failure in terms of what we would put through at no fault of that anyone's, own fault. And that pet one is the obvious standout one. It's just completely flopped. But other than that, we've been very lucky to have very successful businesses and sub-brands of Silent Disco. Yeah.
I imagine you can guess the next question. What is then your biggest success?
The Silent Disco company, going from an idea buying 200 headphones, and my parents thought I was absolute bonkers at the time buying 200 pairs of headphones. But I knew what it was going to cost me. Excuse me. I knew what I was going to lose if it didn't go well, and I was content with that. You're going to put a bet on gambling. You've got to be prepared to lose what you put in. And so where we are today, the team, I mentioned like some colleagues that have been with me a long time. I see them as friends and I care about them as family. So in business, the brands that we've built, culture that we've tried to build, and the real challenge of building culture in a business with staff and team, that I'm really proud of, especially since COVID. lost a lot of team members. It changed a lot, structure of our business. And now in like a softer, me success now is my daughter, family. At the start of the business, success by like how much money am I car. And now I measure success slightly differently in terms of like, are you happy, family, security, knowing that them a good life. That is how I now measure success in a personal way. But at the same time, I'm madly ambitious to keep going. We're out trying to be in 4 weeks to film, just because we have a YouTube channel, show that to viewers behind the scenes and find new products. We'll go to America. Trade shows are one thing I've always done. Go to America once a year, or wait to anything.
Right.
In my opinion, China are obviously way ahead of everyone and everything else. Fintech coming out of, China, they're just clever. The world we couldn't need. We're just going to build it all. And everyone's got to buy from us. Some people don't like China. I've been there multiple times again, and I actually really enjoy going. People, are very kind and hospitable to take you out. I actually really like China. I know there's a lot of bad press about it.
Yeah, I guess I can't say too much. I've never been, but I have the impression that the working standards and people are slave labour and all of that, but that's just what the media show us. I don't know what the reality is.
There's an element of it. I think the media, show exactly what the narrative they want to show, as we know. Our government show very specific elements of a loophole of legislation that they want to put out in the media. So, yeah, they do get bad press. Look, they do a few weird things, like going through every traffic light, they take a picture of you. It's really odd. But there is a reason. Follow the rules. When it's locked down, if you are not going somewhere that you should be going, every traffic light you're going through, you will get a fine through the post. If you've gone out, you've been told to lock down. So, people just F that. We're going to go for the part. Our bubble is now 15 people, not 6 people. Like, we don't follow rules, in my opinion. Even Boris having a party at number 10. I emailed him. I went, at least book a silent disco so nobody heard your party. That would have been the answer to that party. So anyway, China, I actually think is a great place. They do a lot of good things. Yesterday, companies that do trade shows. For us, we go and do a trade show at the Excel or PC, 15 reps, stand and a lot of effort, time, whatever. You have to pay in China to do a trade show. However, you export out of China from that trade show, get 1% cash back off your tax bill. The Chinese government. Imagine if we did that here. If you do an expo, that's great, trade show. You export out the UK, you're growing, give you 1% off your VAT bill or tax bill at the end of the year. Can you imagine where we'd be now?
The problem is we don't really export much. Although
We don't
encourage it,
but our government are not entrepreneurial. We have amazing entrepreneurs here who want to grow their business, and I don't want to get onto like moaning section. Wind me up. They do not help. You will know because you employ people that the employer's national insurance. I'd employ more people, but now you're making it more expensive. I was talking to my bookkeeper and I was like, literally 50 to 50, in between 50 and 55% of our turnover goes on taxes, whether that's business rates, VAT, corporation tax, employers' national insurance, it's endless. It's endless, 55%. And what really winds me up is I think businesses should be taxed on profit and not turnover. Because people that do want to make it, they're doing 7-day weeks, they're giving it a go, they're putting their money on the line, trying to create a business. And before they've even made a profit, made a bit of money, you turn over some money, we'll have that.
20% back, actually, gone.
And I think I know so many that you are better off, the VAT threshold what 90 odd, you are better off earning 80, 85 grand than slipping over 90 and then having a chunk taken off. And I've referenced some really interesting facts the other day. I believe, from some research I saw, there's now 5 million small businesses in the UK. 4 billion of those, 75%, don't employ anyone, which means they're probably under that VAT threshold of 90. But then, you build a tradesman, they're not employing anyone. A one-man band, that's only like 1 million businesses, 25% that actually employ anybody. Huge percentage. And I think a million SMEs, which I class as like 0 to 249 employees, so under 250 employees, those businesses employ 17 million people in the private sector, which is like 60% private sector workers work for SMEs. Like, so, yes, we don't export a lot. There's so much growth that can happen. Young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general that want to grow business, that want to employ, but they go too expensive to do so. So you're better off staying as a one-man band. It's really sad. You've got a perfume brand, you want to export it into Europe. We're not, because we've slowly country, but we could export a lot more.
If there were encouragement like that,
exact incentives and encouragements, then we would.
You got told, again, as an entrepreneur, you get told, drop your taxes 1% for export, it's fine, make it happen.
Or the value that you export.
Yeah, I'll find something to export. And we change our mindset to do that. Essentially what China have done over however many
years. They do some weird stuff, and they probably do stuff. So I don't, but in a business sense and a commercial sense, like the child labour and story and stuff that came out, whether it's true or not, probably. But every factory that I have gone to, we do really, if we're not quite happy with that factory or their practices that the agents are using, is very ethical. They're sleeping. These factories all have sleeping boxes in them. Some of them, where, these workers, and they're not underage workers, but they are workers housed in the factories are weird in China. They're like blocks of flats, and each factory will have like a floor in that flat, like the whole floor over the flat. Which at first year I thought, okay, like industrial estates, but a lot of the factories are they look like blocks of flats, and they've got like a whole floor, and it's quite interesting. So they might have a floor for the factory, and then they might have a floor that they house workers in. And if those conditions aren't right, then I will say to our agent that we work really close out there, see this factory, they'll suss them out. If they're not right, we won't. So yes, there will be bad. But I think here as well, some companies work hour regulations will treat their employees right. Some will treat them wrong.
There's a few things, but if you look into the future now, where do you see yourself going?
Probably moving abroad, stuff like that. And all these. No, it's funny because we did open in Dubai 2 years ago. Right. I just had a real I've had enough taxes. I wouldn't move there, but I wanted to. I see us continuing to grow our team. We want to grow our team. We want opportunities for our team in terms of progression. Like to acquire a few businesses in the next couple of years that we can sell more. I think that's the way of really exploding a business. Acquire others, sort of integrate with it. I think that really explode businesses. Following what they were actually going to see, not so far away, that in potential acquire. But now I can be not a steady Eddie approach, because as an entrepreneur, I want everything done yesterday, and I'm very much like not done yesterday. Like I'm on the team know me, or my PA will be on it, following up with it, because we want progress. We don't want to be 2 months down the line and we could have done that in a month and been generated more business. Certainly new ideas, innovation. Be out in China in 4 weeks. We're hoping to find that next product, like our karaoke or some of the other products that we do in that dry hire model. Keep finding stuff that really people love, that are bolt-ons or standalone businesses, all within our entertainment range, that will create a memory at a party or entertainment or venue, and keep growing. Be happy, laugh, love people. There's so much hatred in the world right now. Crazy amounts of stuff going on, Russia, Ukraine, and Middle East, and I just think people just need to be kinder to each other. And I used to be very angry, but you lose a deal or someone cancels, and you used to take it quite personally. Now I just think everyone needs to be a little bit kinder to each other.
Everyone's got their own problems.
Everyone, you walk down the street and every single person has something going on. And I also find now maybe, but as you've got older, more these unfair illnesses. You know, just a few weeks ago, a great friend of mine who used to be my hairdresser, moved out there, 10-year-old daughter. 10 years old, she's unfair. I mean, one of our team is going through some treatment. He's a young guy. Everyone has problems, you know, including me. Like, we all have problems. So, like, when you walk down the street, like, it's violence in London, it's mad. And that's why I do think I will move out when I retire. In many years to come, sunshine by a beach.
I went to London for an expo last month. Funny, it might have been your headphones there, but it was a big county expo. There were loads of...
Probably a bit of keynotes.
Yeah, there were loads of silent headphones. Yeah. But yeah, in London, I was walking around kind of getting to Battersea, and the amount of... Everybody's looking down, everybody's looking at their phone, kind of walks along, smiled, looked up. I don't think I caught eye contact with a single person. The amount of people I've walked past, and I was kind of doing it as an experiment, but also, you know, just smile a bit more, just be happier, and trying to see what that would do. And I don't think I had eye contact with a single person.
Yeah. And it's funny because my wife, like, when I used to come home from work, like, I would come home stressed, or for me, it was stress of my own making. Like, I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve today, but I'm probably very hard on myself. Yeah, I've made slightly different, in my opinion. And I get home, you know, I've got a commute home, messages, I'm driving, so I'd like go on my phone. She's like, be in the moment. I have like maybe an hour to an hour and a half with my daughter before she goes to sleep, and then a little bit in the morning, weekend time. And she's absolutely right. I will go back on it in 2 hours, but be in the moment, eye contact. Like, if your daughter calls you, give them eye contact. Even if you are writing an email, give them eye contact. It's like so many people don't now, and like kids really pick up on that, and that's what I worry about. Kids now, that with all this social, and it is real. But she always says, like, be in the moment. So if we do spend the weekend away, or a weekend together, or we go and walk the dog, I really don't want to be on my phone. There's a time for that, and I will be on my phone, but there's a time for it. Be in the moment, eye contact is super important. And I did that over the years. A lot of deals, a lot of business meeting, eye contact, don't click the wall, which I probably do more than that. You've got to train yourself to do it, but be in the moment.
And with that, I think British people actually struggle with eye contact. As soon as you start having that, everyone kind of panics, looks away, or does something.
Americans love it. Looking into your soul, like, oh, stop. You know, like awful. They're really trying to look into your soul.
They're also really emotive, and they're looking to be in your face.
Over the top.
Okay, so as a closing thing on the podcast, I don't know if you've seen the Stephen Bartlett podcast, but just there we've got some we've got Stephen Bartlett cards, conversation cards. If you could just grab, because haven't actually got them ready. Yeah. And if you open them, what we're going to do is we're going to pick one each, and we're going to ask each other the question. So these are quite. I'm not sure. I mean, yes, shuffle them. You're probably better at shuffling than I am. But pick one each. Any random card, and the question on it will ask each other.
Oh, he's done well, but that's really good. We're actually talking about one way, and we're doing China, referencing a jet lag, which tells you. I did quite a lot of traveling in America a few weeks ago, and it tells you when to have your coffee, when to eat, when to sleep, because jet lag is the worst thing. China's really bad. It's 8 hours ahead.
Yeah.
So you're like, a day is quite hard. But it doesn't just ruin like the next few hours if you land it. It really affects the next day and possibly the next day off.
A couple of days.
When you're there for 6-7 days, not a long period of time. So we were talking about Bart because he shared that he's got no affiliation with it, but it tells you when to have your coffee on the plane, when to sleep, when to eat. Essentially, like
you're going to try.
So we both downloaded it. When we do China, we're going to try and use the app, and it will tell you as soon as you get on the plane. Sleep, eat at this time, to get on that time, and basically cure the jet lag. I just thought that was.
Let me know how that goes.
I will. Okay.
So I'll go first. Why?
I've got a great one, by the way.
Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? Smile on people's faces. Or honest, I think, and that come from my early work career and the team as well. They really make things happen, and love being around. To have a great team. And that's probably why I continue doing it. There are things, why the bloody hell you will have it. You lose a really good client, been with you for 10 years, and you know what, I've just had enough. You look around, things are okay, like, got a great team around, do have a good business. So I think they're the ones that keep going.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I quite like it. So yeah.
All right. Well, this is the question is from Tony Bedley, who I'm a big fan of. We've got some good fights coming up. I'm a boxing fan. It's a great question. I was wondering what you believe happiness is and how it can be achieved.
So I guess doing this podcast, I've learned quite a lot, and I would almost come back to your measure of success. Like happiness to me is seeing my daughter's face, seeing what we've got at home, and enjoying the journey. I've helped business owners sell, make millions, do millionaires. I've interviewed, spoken to, and having spoken to quite a few of them, or quite a few people, they go along this journey, they make millions, they exit. They've lost their relationships, they've lost their family, they've lost their kids, they've lost their loved ones, they've lost their best friends. They've got a few £1,000,000, but that's all they've got. They've lost everything along the way to achieve that, which is a sacrifice they've made, and they take ownership of it. But more often than not, they would go back and try and enjoy it more during their process, and try and send that one text message that says things going once a year, every couple of months. All it takes, when you think of someone, make that message, make that connection. You said right your door, put your phone down. There's a 2-hour slot a day. To her, that 2 hours is a huge percentage of her life. Like, she's only been around for 600 days. The reality is, be in that moment, be present. Happiness to me is enjoying everything along the way. Even them shit times, you kind of sit there and everything's going wrong, but actually got a house, got a car, got my wife, I've got my daughter, got the business, we're doing all right. Okay, we have a tough moment, but it's looking at reality and looking at what you do have. So yeah, that's my long-winded way of saying what my happiness would be.
Yeah, I like that. And it's often stepping back, trying to look at what you've not you sort of as a different person. And I think when you do that and you actually step away and look back what you created from an idea to what it is now, and that you've got the house, you've got security, I think you actually then sort of ground yourself a bit as well to be a bit more, just grounded.
Like you said, that looking back, if your 18-year-old self saw you now, they'd be amazed, I think. I mean, like, my 18-year-old self never thought I would be where I am. They just wanted to be.
Bit of a YouTube channel and being on podcast, that's definitely for sure. And one of the things you said actually was about sending a text. And it's actually something that I've tried to change because it's too easy to send a text, in my opinion. When I'm send a text, it's too easy. So I try and pick up the phone. Like, call them, I just think, sending a text or you're replying, oh, yeah, I'm great, thanks, how are you? I try and call, or if I don't, I'm in the car a lot, I'll send a voice note. Because I love sending voice notes. Some people really hate it, but I'm like, the best thing, I don't want to be texting out a message, I will send a voice note. I think, just sending a voice note or giving that person a call, don't just send a to me, it's half-hearted.
Yeah.
And like the response, you always send the most generic, oh yeah, kids are fine, how are your kids? Yeah, they're all doing well. And that's it for another 2 months. Pick up the phone, build back those relationships because life is short. I don't know what people are through, and you've reminded me I needed to message someone on the way home yesterday, and I forgot, so I'm going to do that in the car from here. Just to type one last thing. This afternoon, we've got a site visit. I can go back to the office. I will probably be home at 2 p.m. and I could have 3 hours in the office, and then I've got another hour to drive home. I could do that, or I could go straight home, do 4 hours of work from home. I don't enjoy working from home. It's quite fun. Lonely, I like it. But if I do work from home, I get an extra hour's work. And I can pick up my daughter from nursery at 5 o'clock. And that's now where, she's not going to want me to, pick her up and be stupid with her. So I'm still a kid, kids are the same at heart. There will be a point where I'm going travelling. Life goes very quick, and as we get older, like 20 minutes a day already. It feels like it's insane how quick. And I don't know if that's because we have busier lives now that time feels like it's going much quicker. I don't know what your theory is on that, but I just feel time like Christmas was like 4 months, 5 months ago. Insane how quick time goes, and the fact that it will be very quick before July, but she's 16, and you know, I will go home this afternoon, get more work done for a start. I've got less of a commute, and I get to have an extra half an hour with her by picking her up from nursery.
Yeah.
That's the privilege of being an entrepreneur. That is what makes it worth it. That we're not a 9 to 5. We're not employed. We can do that, but we've worked our bloody socks off, but hard, and we will have the sleepless nights of the stress. Yet to be able to do that.
There's so many things I can come back up on that. Like absolutely, seeing their face. I think somebody said to me, we were talking about, do we go on holiday or not this year? Someone said, realistically, you probably got 16 holidays with her.
Yeah.
And when you look at it like that, 16 holidays with my daughter before she doesn't want to go away at 18 with her dad. And if she does, we'll see.
If you're taking her to Ibiza, she'll probably go.
She doesn't want to see her dad at that point.
They're the memories.
Yeah.
They are the memories.
And as a kid, I remember almost all of my holidays. And the fact that you suddenly think, yeah, I've only got 16 or 17. I need to make the most of every one that we do. If you do one a year. Coming back round to what else did you mention there?
Leading, like being
being able to work quicker. Absolutely, you can do that now. When you first started, you just told me you did 24-hour days, building your own website.
Well, it's rare now. She's a nursery 4 days a week, and very, very rarely pick her up. We finish at 5 in the office. Me and the senior team will likely stay till 5:30, 6. And then I have 45 minutes home. And then I've got, let's say I leave at 5:30, an hour home, 6:30. I've really got an hour and a half with her before she goes to sleep. But it just so happened, on the off chance today, it is rare, I'm going to be driving past home from where we are now to where the office will be. So do I then do another 45 minute work from the office, which I really enjoy, otherwise I wouldn't do it. Or do I work from home, which I don't quite enjoy, but I get an extra half an hour and I get to pick her up, which she doesn't know, her face, that memory, you don't have that forever. She's only going to be like school and you can pick her up, but time goes bloody quick.
Yeah.
And, but being the business owner, being the entrepreneur, being the boss, as I say, is tough work. You've got the sleepless nights of how am I going to pay everybody, and you've got to pay only 30 grand on payday. Have you got the cash flow? You're putzing the night before sometimes. The cash to do it, I'm waiting for that last client to pay, and then I've got enough. We've all a lot of been through that struggle. But then, if you want to leave early and you do want to pick up, you can do that. And stuff I get once she's asleep, I'm going to work.
And where are they during them 3 a.m. emails you're sending?
But they never quite understand that. That's the reality. So yeah, happiness is searched in different ways now. How old are you?
She turns 3 2nd of May.
Wow.
So very similar ages.
Yes, it's Monday, 28th of April, so very close. So 2 birthdays coming up.
Yeah.
There we go.
And yes, I do have fancy castles. Yes, she has got a unicorn cake. And yes, it is unicorn themed because that's what she's asked for.
So poo promoted and unicorn themed parties happening this weekend, guys.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm going to close it here.